Hey guys, here's my gear today. We have the Semogue Owners Club boar brush with a Taj handle. This is the Viking's Blade Vulcan. This is Barrister and Mann, full measure of Mann soap. And the blade is a Gillette silver blue. It's a reliable blade that often works well in different razors, and so that's why I'm trying it as I use this Vulcan for the first time. The Vikings Blade brand is not one that I'm a big fan of because of their high markup value. Um, I misspoke the high markup pricing. I think it's a pretty low value item because I think they're just taking Baili razors that cost $12 in some cases, $8, and then marking them up to sometimes 3 or 4 times that amount. And they do that. They do give you a nice story on their website page, and they do give you a nice box, velour kind of felt there, and a magnetic snap closure. And so, and then they'll put custom etching on the sometimes on the razor. And so, if that's important to you, then if you want to pay those high prices, then do it. And this looks very similar to some of the Baili handle designs, that's for sure. And one thing they do have that Baili does not is a lifetime warranty on their razors. And to me, that's worth maybe $5 or $4. But with some of the other razors that they have, that where they're wanting you to pay 35, where you can get it for 12, the warranty doesn't really mean much if it's almost the same price as buying it brand new, to me. And so I got taken by them with their Godfather razor. It's that long-handled, very smooth, almost a teardrop shape razor. Now the head is a very good head. It's just a Baili head that is very cheap, except they want you to pay more, and because they add a pinstripe around the bottom on the handle, and so I don't like being shafted like that and led astray. In my ignorance as an early shaver, I was enraptured with the reviews on Amazon, and I'd spend so much time, and then I fell into their ploy of a nice, wonderful story. With this particular model, I'm having to, it looks brand new, and the rotator knob here starts to have a little resistance right here, and you can see the doors aren't really open as wide as they'll go. The blade does go in there, and if I force it, I can open them more. This looks like a normal open amount, but that's not really a big deal. Does this looks, I do have a Baili razor that has a very similar design to this, but it's a little shorter. Is it possible that this is something that Baili has done for Viking's Blade? I think that's highly likely, and maybe Viking's Blade is the only vendor who is purchasing this one. Maybe you can find this one on other websites as well. I don't know. Judging by the plating and the appearance, it definitely looks like another zinc alloy razor, Zamac, and then they plate it in chrome. And that will last forever as long as there's no wear, as long as the chrome doesn't wear away. And of course it will over time. Usually in some type of screw mechanism with a three-piece razor, when that top cap comes through the blade with its bolt and into the handle, where it connects in the handle right there is the threading, and that is the real place where issues often develop. And it's so common to see guys with broken off heads from the handles because that corrosion, once it gets to the zinc alloy, it's extremely not resistant to corrosion at that point. Once it goes through the plating, and the threading just wears away at the plating. So the Full Measr of Mann, such a wonderful tobacco scent. I have just raved about it with the first couple of times I've used it. Let me get my face wet now that I've put the blade in the razor. Let that water be soaking into my beard. And let's load the brush with the soap. Oh, I was shaking it out like I was about to rinse it. Which is a kind of a real big shakeout. Whereas when I'm about to load, I just kind of do this. I get a lot of the water out, but it's still got a little bit in there. Should we do 25 seconds? Why not? Right there. So we'll go to 10 seconds on the next minute, he says to himself to remember. Bore brushes definitely need to be soaked, and so I did do that for several minutes as I got my gear ready. And man, that time just passes quickly. Just a couple more seconds and we are done. Let's just hope that's enough. I think with the Excelsior base, that is probably going to be plenty. All right. Give us the lather view. So when I got taken in by the Godfather razor, I actually ordered the Baili version of it. I can't remember if it's the BD 179, 176. I can't remember the exact Baili model number, but I had them both in my hand at the exact same time. I had them sit side by side. I even posted an album online with pictures side by side, and the only difference is that pinstripe that Viking's blade added to the handle. Even the production seams from the casting of the mold in the razor were identical. Now, at the time, I contacted Baili and I said, "Hey, is the Viking's blade Chieftain the same razor that you guys make?" And they said, "Yeah, it was." That was right from the manufacturer. Now, obviously, it's from a representative of the manufacturer. Maybe they said that they made those razors for Viking's blade. Well, because Viking's blade has sold their story to a good number of people, there are folks out there that get kind of angry online if you start to say that Baili and Viking's blade are the same razors. What Viking's blade claims is that while Baili does make the razors for them, it seems, they use a different alloy. That is the the inside core of the razor, and so it's a more premium alloy. I don't think I believe that for 1 second. Some people publish or have made evident these letters that even from Baili now, where they're kind of retracting that statement. I'll bet Viking's blade might have sued them or something for kind of outing them. I wouldn't be surprised if that was going on. And so I unfortunately, I didn't have a digital scale at the time. When I had both the razors, I could have weighed them to see if perhaps if the weight was exactly the same. I think that would lend more credence to the fact that they were exactly the same alloy, same makeup. And so I was able, thanks to Amazon, to return that Godfather razor, overpriced, highly overmarketed piece. And they're just taking advantage of people because this wet shaving thing is a really good way to save money. And it is a nice return to traditional, a very masculine way of, taking care of your daily rituals and shaving and things like that. And they're just, putting some polish on a really cheap razor is my belief. And then charging a whole lot more for it than really needs to be done. But, believe what you want. I just don't, if you choose to think that maybe they are somehow using a different alloy or then that's fine. But as long as you're informed, that's what I'm going for. If you want to overpay, what I might consider overpaying, maybe you don't consider that overpaying. But if you want to pay those prices, then at least you're informed and you can do that, right? But what I don't like is people that could really afford to save some money and buy a Baili razor when instead they spend their hard-earned money. They could have multiple soaps and a Baili razor instead of just a Viking's blade razor, or a lifetime supply of blades, that sort of thing. Especially, and this is a similar complaint that I have against Parker, Merkur, Muley, Edwin Jagger. These are razors that are Zamac. They are going to corrode and they're going to die and they're not going to last forever. You have to really keep the wetness away from those parts where the plating is going to rub away. And so it's just not a razor that's going to last a super long time in many cases. Water. And I hate for people to spend good money on that kind of a product. Oh, this tobacco is just terrific. I did not pre-wash my face, so we're going to go back in and bring in a little more soap to the party there, more lather. So we'll see how it performs. I am certain I will pass it on to somebody else. But I, unlike Viking's Blade, will be forthright. Either I will just charge Baili type prices, or I will be upfront about the fact that it may just be a clone razor. I think we've worked it into my skin long enough. So let's see how it works. I figured, and because I have it because I bought it as a box of razors, and this just came in there. I wouldn't have bought it otherwise. But I figure while I have it, we can at least show it to you guys. And this video, as we see the balance point here, that's kind of where I like it. So that part's good. It's got some weight to it, so it is on the heavier side, if that's important to you. Very good cutting action here, moving easily through the whiskers. Now, in one sense, this is a good buy. I think the retail might be 40 something for this one. Could be wrong. in one sense, it's a good buy. It only starts to be a bad buy when you think that there are probably $12 razors that shave as good as this. Made under a different name, you know. But the cutting action here, and we're looking at a little bit more than a day of growth. And so the feel was very, very nice, actually. Hopefully we get to the end of the shave and we have a nice close cut instead of one where this comfort is accompanied by the fact that there's not as much hair is being cut. We don't want to see that, right? Maybe this is a mild razor. I definitely felt, you know, a little bit of stubble as I was doing the rinse just now. But as long as the second pass takes it away and gives me a good smooth feeling, that's not going to be of any concern. I felt like this lather might be a little on the wet side, and so that's why I dabbed my face right before this pass to get rid of kind of the excess water. But I had slickness was very good here. It is a long handle, and something I'll mention about long handles is that I do have big hands. I'm 6 feet 5 inches tall, and I have large hands. And so when I first started thinking about buying these kind of razors and looking over those Amazon reviews, because I hadn't yet found the good forums out there, I thought that the long handle was the way I needed to go. Since then, I have learned that I only like long handle for the purpose of ballast. If the long handle puts my grip point in a place that is where I want to be, then I'm fine with the long handle. But you won't see me holding it like this. That gives you leverage, and I don't like to shave with leverage. Now, one note I'm having here is that there's just a little bit of soap, and this handle's actually kind of slippery. It's because it may be kind of nubbed, but these nubs, because of the plating, have been kind of rounded off. And so I think that could make it more slippery than if the nubs weren't there. So they kind of give the appearance of giving you some grip, but it's actually it's kind of slippery. All right, so let's see how that. So this is definitely on the mild side in terms of the feel of the razor. I'm not getting very much audio, so that's good. It seems like it has a good grip on the blade, close to the edge, you know, providing security there. Looks like about 18 milliliters of water I've used up so far. You international folks might really enjoy the switch to the metric system in terms of water usage. 2 teaspoons is 10 milliliters, so that's the conversion. My little shot glass measuring jigger here does not have the teaspoons on there. Yeah, so this is a really wet lather, but it's such a good quality soap that it hangs in there and provides excellent slickness, even though it's got a lot of water in it. So we've done that second pass, and we did a cross grain. I'm going to repeat that same pattern on my cheeks. A lot of people will switch and do a stroke, the cross grain, but just do the other direction. It's not as enjoyable for me, and doing the way I do it, I still get really close shaves on my cheeks, and so I'm fine with just repeating the same cheek pattern here. Again, a very mild feel. When I said that, I meant blade feel. And now we're talking about my hand feel. As I was rinsing, I did feel like it was doing a good job of cutting away the stubble after that second pass. Now that stroke right there, very good. I've got a little bit of tenderness developing around here. I don't know if that's leftover from yesterday's aggressive razor that I used, or if maybe this has a hot spot where it's we have a bent blade or a corner that's having problems. This razor actually has quite a large gap between the safety bar and the blade edge. However, it's kind of recessing the blade back a little bit more, and so therefore it's not going to shave. That's why it's giving me that nice mild shave. All right, let's have a rinse. Comfort was high. As I've just taken a look at the result here, comfort was high. I did have that little bit of tenderness, but it's very low, and I have a feeling 10 minutes after the shave I'm not going to feel it. At this point, I'm not going to blame it on this particular razor, since I did have an aggressive shave yesterday. The length on the tips, there are several kind of stray whiskers in this area that have a little bit of length on them. And so it's not great, but high comfort, pretty good in terms of closeness, really. And so all things being equal, this is a good shaving razor if you have a mild penchant, if you like kind of the comfortable shaves. If you go against the grain, you're probably going to get even closer shaves, obviously. I can't do that because of irritation. My face feels good. Let us splash on some Samhain from Southern Witchcrafts. Got to remember to shake this up because it's a mixture. It's a non-alcohol splash. It's got the pumpkin, but it's warm, and it's got some other good stuff in there too. Sandalwood, things like that. Just really enjoyed smelling it the other day. You can put the excess in the back of your neck if you want to get kind of more of the scent around on you. Put it on my forearms, that way while I'm writing up my review and my hands have kind of worn away from the scent because of rinsing, and you can still smell it. Really nice. Big fan. And it's springtime, but I'm enjoying that scent. So in terms of performance, never mind the marketing, never mind the overcharging, but in terms of performance, I like the razor. In the feel, very comfortable, enjoyable during the whole shave. I love the way that it's holding onto the blade very well. Nice tight grip. I had a Baili razor very similar to this, but just a little shorter. And one of the problems was my pinky, as I was holding the razor, was resting on the adjustment knob, and gradually it would work its way loose. And I had to keep, and I eventually just ditched that razor for that reason. But this longer handle, my finger doesn't do that. Let me complete that thought I made a while back, was about the leverage. I don't want leverage with this kind of razor. I want to be able to hold it in kind of and see it's actually slipping and sliding. It doesn't really provide a really secure grip. But I like to hold it in a central location so that as I'm moving around, the razor can move like that. And it can go over bumps instead of going through them. Yeah, see right now, I do not like the way it's not, because I have that splash on my hands, and that's got a little bit of kind of oily stuff in it, that I don't like the feel of this in my hand right now. It feels very insecure. Oh look, they put a little symbol right there that kind of looks like a V. So maybe you'll find this as a Baili version somewhere, maybe you won't. But I still believe that it is a cast Semogue pot metal razor with chrome plating on it. And so if you take it, if you dry it really well, get in there to the mechanism, dry it after each use, it could still provide many years of use for you. I'll make that very clear. If you abuse it and let it sit around wet, it could break in as soon as a year. So those are some things I have observed watching the forums and things like that. But so that with the leverage thing, I like for it to be able to glide over with a light touch, to glide over the contours of my face, instead of you providing a grip like this where you have to make sure you're going over the contours with your own movement instead of letting the razor do it kind of naturally. And I think that's why I get such comfortable shaves, probably such long blade life as well. So let's unscrew this guy and put him over here. And now it does have some stuff inside. It's got VB right here. It's got QV158 over here on this side. Q-Shave, could that mean Q-Shave? Q-Shave is another company, I think, that does the Baili razors, maybe. And who knows, that could be it. I might Google that number. And then they have another VB to the left and right of the center post here in the recessed diamond area there, diamond-shaped area. And so this head here is kind of it looks like a big, somewhat solid piece of cast. It may be hollow. It's hard to tell. It does have these end caps that make it difficult to tell. But it does have, some markings, and I definitely would think that the Baili version wouldn't have VB on these base plates. And so maybe this guy is unique to Viking's blade. But there are so many other razors, especially ones that cost similar to this, that I would definitely prefer over it, that I know are going to last multiple lifetimes without a problem, because they're brass construction, or the stainless steels from like the Game Changers from Razor Rock. They're stainless steel construction, and they will last eons longer than this kind, and provide a similar shave as well. So but in terms of just strictly performance, this gave me an enjoyable shave, reasonably close. I was happy with the results. Worked well with the Gillette Silver Blue. So in the performance aspect, I really enjoyed it. In the I don't like getting shafted aspect, it's a failure. But I wanted to bring it to you guys. If one thing, the fact that people looking for Viking's blade information could potentially stumble across this video, and it could help them not to make the same mistake that I did and order a Viking's blade when I could have tried out a Baili for a lot less. And then also, that I'm not pumping this razor up in any means with good words, because I don't care for the company very much. However, a person interested in the performance aspects of this Vulcan razor is going to get a pretty truthful response from me. If you have skin like me, hair like me, then and you like milder razors, then you'll probably enjoy the shave you get with the Vulcan. And how much soap did I have left over? Pretty much perfect. It was very wet. Be a great lather for straight razors. And but it was so slick. The razor never skipped or anything like that, and so it wasn't watery enough to cause that. And so it was kind of on the wet end of perfect, but nonetheless a wonderful lather. And that scent is so good. And as we potentially track the bloom on this brush, this is what it's looking like after a good strop on the towel to dry it out a lot. And he's opening up more and more each time. A lot of the tips still have yet to go, and so it's going to get softer and softer. And when I said yet to go, I meant yet to split. As more tips split, you get softer. Yeah, so what I told you before about 15 I'm sorry, 17 or 18 milliliters of water was used, and I think that equates to about 3.5 teaspoons of water, roughly. If you want to try to come approximately close, if you have a similar brush and you want to load for a similar amount of time on the Excelsior base, you could potentially, and you have the similar water hardness to me, then all those factors come into play with saying you could use this same method to get to the a similar lather in case you're having troubles. All right, man, I'm enjoying the aftershave here, the Samhain, and we've dried off the razor and the brush, so it's a good shave. I'm sure that Viking's Blade has some razors that aren't in the Baili inventory, that aren't available as Baili razors. But if you are more focused on having a nice box to keep your razor in, or just to arrive at your door in, if that is your focus, then Viking's Blade, and don't mind paying for it, then Viking's Blade may be a good brand for you. You'll get a nice story and you'll get a nice box. And there we go. We're all done putting away the gear. The tenderness I mentioned is there, but only when I touch it. As I'm moving around, I don't feel it at all. So that's good. Happy with the splash. My skin feels really good. It definitely doesn't feel dried out or anything like that after the shave. And the scent, I'm having a great time. One of the nice things about moving around in your bathroom or shave area is after you put that aftershave on, you are just kind of stirring up that scent and you're able to enjoy it afresh, and I like that. So there we go, guys. You don't see too many reviews from Viking's Blade on Viking's Blade products from me, but there's one, and I just wanted to bring it out to you guys. It might be a razor that some of you are interested in, and it might serve as a warning just to increase the knowledge of folks out there about the potential to maybe save a lot of money by not going with Viking's Blade if you're able to find a Baili counterpart. Indeed, many of these Baili razors are actually marketed under many different companies. Viking's Blade is not the only company that takes these Chinese razors and upsells them and marks them really high. I've seen a few others. It's just that Viking's Blade seems to be the one that comes into my public view more often than others. Maybe they just have a bigger market share. Maybe they have just advertised in the right places. Maybe they were on Amazon first, or who knows what, who knows why. But so I'm not going after them specifically. Any company who is doing that, overcharging for inexpensive Chinese pot metal razors, is going to kind of get the same warnings from me and the same dislike, because I think then the company says, we don't mind customers if you overpay for a razor. And so to me that tells me they don't have the customer in mind. We can sell a $12 razor to you for $40, then we're going to do it. To me, that's not a company that's looking out for the customer. So, and I really don't like that. And I don't mind it as much when it's informed people making purchasing decisions, but so many people get into this hobby and they jump online and they talk about their new Viking's Blade razor online like it's some awesome thing, and then they're in for real shock when they see the Baili razors out there for a quarter of the cost that are doing the same thing. And so I feel bad for them as well. All right, guys. Well, this is enough for me. I chose purposefully a wonderful shave soap to enjoy that tobacco scent with the full measure of Mann from Barrister and Mann. I chose the Samhain scent afterwards. They did transition nicely from one to the other. They are kind of different, but they work together very well. I chose those on purpose because I knew that I knew my dislike for the Viking's Blade brand, and so I wanted to experience it with some good smells, right? All right, all the best to you guys. You take care with all the life that you're living in these days here with COVID. I wish you the best. Keep yourselves safe, and I personally believe in getting those vaccines, and I've got my first dose already. Take care of yourself and your loved ones. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves, and I hope that this one has some good shaving stuff that'll help you out with your life. Take care now. Good night.